Thank you for your attendance. To those of you here and joining us online, thank you very much and welcome to this third plenary session of the Participatory Group. And on the 22nd of November, we gather again in this format, which is very pleasant that we can see each other's faces. I wanted to let you know that the session is being recorded. Everything will be processed by the Citizen Attention General Directorate. If you want to say something inappropriate, you can, but just to let you know. Now, today we have representatives of Fuenlabrada, Murcia, UK, the Community of Madrid, and of course the City Council of Madrid, apart from the National Distance Education University, as well as Baleares, and there's a representative of Valencia. We would like to thank him for his presence in this session about our community of practices. Without further ado, I'd like to give you the floor. We are so informal that we have no order. Yes, we can give each other the floor. My name is Mara Pia, Director of Citizen Participation. I'm responsible for the treatment of processing of data. As Cristina was saying, we are very happy to be here to celebrate this plenary session, and in this hybrid format, we like that we can see each other's faces so that we can chat in the breaks, we can laugh together, we can talk among friends, and always very politely. We are very happy for 2 years, formal years of work from February 2021 when we started the Participatory Group. It's been very intense thanks to the joint efforts of all of you. Many people approached Madrid back then looking for answers, but we had many questions as well. We have succeeded in the creation of a space where we can exchange good practices, discuss and grow together. I'm going to keep it brief, but I wanted to mention some highlights about the group. First of all, the proximity, that closeness, because this is a very close and agile group. This is a huge advantage. There's a lot of diversity. We represent very different administrations. Many come from Spain, but there are participants from different regions and different countries, even with different circumstances, maturity levels in participatory processes with your individual issues. But this is the diversity that precisely enriches us. Most importantly, we tackle real situations because citizen participation needs to make sense and it needs to tackle daily situations that are of the interest of our citizens. Even though we get into depth about theory, etc., we also tackle practical matters, and landing is very important. We are always trying to innovate too. We're always looking for innovations in processes. For these reasons, I'd say we are very happy with this community. We are all firm believers that this is a cross-sectional matter that needs to trickle down to all sectors, all the stages of public policy, and that we can no longer act alone from administrations, but we need the collaboration of civil society. So this impacts the when, the who, the how, the what. We need to keep going keep walking forward in this path. Marta, I give you the floor. We are very grateful to UNED because of their humongous efforts so that this process succeeds. I give you the floor. Thank you. I like the support of the City Council of Madrid. I mean, this is a huge privilege for a university like ours. Something that we are proud of when it comes to the participatory group is the fact that it's a true cooperative partnership agreement where both parties and all the members of the TPG try to contribute their best know-how, apart from creating a climate that is very pleasant to work in, thanks to Antonio Lopez and Susana Viñuales, the two professors, Luis and Cristina. We offer a work dynamic that allows for a degree of creativity. This is thanks to the support of the City Council of Madrid and our own structure so that we can really grow together. I would like to share an anecdote now. Look at these trousers that I'm wearing. I bought them the day that we inaugurated the participatory group in the City Council of Madrid. So this morning, you know what women are like. I was thinking, what should I wear to the plenary session? And I thought, how beautiful would it be for me to wear the same clothes, but with the whole baggage of activities and workshops and radio programs that we have that have taken place in the past 2 years. I'm very happy to be with you. And again, thank you. This is a mutual feeling. This is a truly participatory and collaborative team. With our tensions and issues, of course, this cannot be avoided, but that's what it's precisely all about. I would also like to welcome you today. The fact that you're here face to face is wonderful. We can feel your warmth, and we want to recognize the boost of Latin American countries and cities that are a benchmark in participation. They've been here since the morning, and we were thinking about having the next plenary session at the other side of the pond. Thank you. Now let's give the floor to the Deputy Mayor, who's been supporting the participatory group. We've got an online video. The Deputy Mayor, by the Deputy Mayor of the City Council of Madrid, and also the government area delegate. Dear friends and members of the participatory group, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this international community of practice. TPG currently has 73 members, 65 local and regional governments, and 8 institutional partners and universities from all over the world. Together we have created an agile and close environment that has allowed us to bring together very diverse administrations and entities in order to reflect and learn together and promote citizen participation, integrating it in the decision-making processes of public policies. In just 2.5 years since the creation of this community, and thanks to the participation of all of you and the collaboration of the National Distance Education University UNED, we have launched and developed 16 conferences, multiple expert workshops, 6 working groups, 18 video training pills, and 33 radio programs. We have been able to combine the input of all participants, not only from an academic point of view, but also from an eminently practical perspective, always trying to address real situations that are close to our citizens. Public policies must be built on the basis of collaboration with citizens, with social and business stakeholders, and all public and private actors. For this reason, our aim is to consolidate this enriching community, promoting networking and the design of new participation techniques and dynamics to make processes more accessible, more attractive and effective. I would like to thank you all for your collaboration, which is essential for the success of this project, and I would also like to invite you to keep sharing practices and activities with us over the coming years. Thank you very much.
Agradecer de nuevo a la vicealcaldesa del Ayuntamiento de Madrid este vídeo, estas palabras.
We thank the Deputy Mayor for these kind words. Now let's move on to our next speaker. We'd like to thank her for her participation and willingness to talk to us. Sullivan is works in the government of Aragon in the Innovation Lab. He's head of the Service of Citizen Participation and Social Innovation. He's also a trainer in different institutions like the University of Aragon, and he's specialized in public innovation laboratories. We thank you for your attendance and your intervention. Thank you. I'm in Huesca. I'm far from you. Can you hear me? I have prepared a short presentation. Could I please share my screen?
En Aragón, la verdad es que estamos hablando en los últimos años mucho de
In
gobierno.
Aragon, we've talked a lot about social innovation and open governments, but this is not from scratch. Since 2007, we have had a specific DG for citizen participation. You might know Aragón Participa. In 2015, there was the enactment of Act 815 of transparency and participation in Aragon. What is relevant about this act? It had the consensus of all political parties with presence in our regional parliament. In 2019, we carried out an evolution. We took a leap and we created the LAAAB, the Laboratory of Open Government of Aragon. In 2020, we adhered to the Alliance of Open Government, OPG Local. We were pioneers in 2007 when we started to talk about citizen participation at regional level. But it's nice to see that regardless of who's in power, the citizen participation project remains stable. So it's a project built on consensus, on agreement, and really well consolidated. We have developed 185 participatory processes for our citizens at a regional level and also helping local entities within our territory. The lab is defined as something experimental, as an open conversation among citizens and administrations. We are people who talk, nothing more, nothing less. Citizens, stakeholders, civil servants, with experts. We have jointly designed the services that we think that they want, because often we have neglected their part. We haven't talked to businesses, to citizens. So we want to create an ecosystem for an open government and social innovation promoting citizen participation projects. We want to bring institutions closer to citizens in a historical moment where there's been a distancing or a detachment of administrations from citizens with movements like 15M. We want to reincorporate the citizens who trust us. We also want to create a space for the exchange of different stakeholders. This capacity of experts, this power, we know it's not alone. I mean, there is a lot of knowledge beyond public administrations, and we need to create gathering points and collective intelligence points where we can gather information from public administrations of everything that is beyond us. We also want to experiment and create new public action models. What does lab mean? A lab is a place to test, to try out new models for action. And public administrations have politicians that are constantly being subject to the scrutiny of media and citizens, etc. So we tend to, or they tend to have very continuous models, or they tend not to innovate because they don't want to fail or to make mistakes because they will be punished by their parliament. So we are always lagging behind in public administrations compared to companies who need to reinvent themselves to look for market niches constantly. So we need to learn from them, and we need to create spaces where trial and error is an option. It's permitted. So we work pilot projects, small-scale projects, where if we fail, if we make mistakes, no big deal. We know that this way, this bigger audacity when developing public services is the way to move forward in a world where there's a high level of complexity and an increasing complexity. We're talking about volatility, uncertainty. This leads to issues that are difficult to define one-dimensionally. There are problems with refugees, structural unemployment, poverty. These problems have many different causes. They are interlinked, interdependent, they overlap, and it's difficult to create solutions for them. It's impossible to tackle this from the traditional institutions that are so hierarchical and bureaucratic. We need to deal with this as an ecosystem of networks, of entities working at local, national, European, and international national level, thinking about the third sector and companies and neighborhoods so that we can jointly find solutions to problems. From this analysis, there's been a systemic combination of the hacker ethics, the analysis, 150 innovation methodologies used in the most important innovation ecosystems have allowed us to define our own innovation model for the public sector. We believe that we can make a transition through this hexagon from hierarchical, closed entities towards institutions that work truly as an ecosystem. We were talking about it being something cross-sectional. Administrations require hybrid teams together with experts in law, economists and sociologists and others like graphic designers and experts in AI, IT people. We need civil servants beyond administration so that our projects are richer compared to if we work with really homogeneous groups. We need to be fast, agile. We need to react in a timely manner. Prototypes. We need to put an end to tireless meetings that are not productive, that lead to very few progresses. So we need to move towards something more visual. The vector of collaboration is important. Technologies offer new possibilities, but let's think about humanism, digital humanism. We cannot apply technology for the sake of it. We need to rethink the way that we reflect and without creating further gaps because of an excessive digitalization. And finally, an opening up of institutions. This hexagon has led us to develop a whole definition of roles and soft skills that are key to transform our institutions, because our public organizations have normally recruited based on hard skills and degrees, master's degrees, but even when we're looking for jurists, the degrees that give you access to this role are quite limited. Yes, people who come to us have that economic background, that legal background, but what about soft skills? You might be looking for jurists who are more empathetic, because there might be others who lack this soft skills. So let's reflect about our organizations, our skills, and our teams, and let's think beyond hard skills as a whole and transition to a whole package of competences that will make our organizations more flexible in these complex times. We're talking about citizen participation, and this requires talking about macro factors. We participate in big public policy processes, acts, plans, but we don't understand. But this is not enough to get to our citizens. If I asked you about your Healthcare Act, your opinion on the Healthcare Act, you might have a loose understanding of what it means. You might be in favor of public healthcare, but you might not have a specific opinion about this act. What about if I ask you about how you feel about how you are treated in your health by your GP? Yes, as users, you know how you feel with regards to these services. So not only at the macro level, let's get participation of lobbies and civil society organizations, but let's get to the citizens. Citizens normally participate at the local level because citizens are attached to their neighborhoods. When we talk about public services, let's think about the co-design of public services, and there we will be able to incorporate citizens so that they can tell us how to better our healthcare facilities, our management of nature, our schools, our parks, and we can include social innovation programs here. Through the lab, we develop ecosystems to try to get the trust of our citizens back. So we have thought about gender equality, the incorporation of the youth, the elderly, because everybody working with us in collaborative projects to build together something better, they are all close to administrations, and it's easy to get them in institutionalized participatory processes that are, again, detached from our citizens. There's another barrier or another obstacle to public participation that we need to solve, the one of technical training required to participate in specific processes that are a bit more technical or specific. Thinking about institutionalized participation, it's difficult to get citizens to join very boring video calls with different public administrations. It's much easier to look for citizens, to approach them where they are. Are they gathered in parks, in healthcare centers? We should go after them to ask for their opinion. But there is a obstacle there. There needs to be prior technical training if you want to participate in a full and effective manner in certain cases. We are counting on their participation in topics that we think all citizens have an opinion about. For instance, work-life balance, sharing of responsibilities. We believe that everybody in the streets will have an opinion about work-life balance, so we have got out to the streets to ask citizens about these matters. In other occasions, we should take into account the bias of participation, the bias of self-selection, it's called. In participatory processes, we need to be very careful not to make the mistake of making the participation a synonym of the voice of all citizens. No, there are limitations to participation, barriers, obstacles, and we need to take them into account. We have tried to implement different democratic methodologies. In Huesca, there was a contest, or there was, we established a more randomized methodology to select citizens within an age group. When it comes to interculturality, foreigners associations, representatives, in Aragon, we're talking about 15% of our population coming from other countries. They disappear from participatory processes when we ask people about sports, culture, healthcare. Everybody should aspire to participate in these processes because these processes should reflect the diversity of our population. We're still far from this objective. We need to take down barriers. Let's pay attention so that we can identify and pinpoint the biases of participation, because these open, active channels, these bidirectional channels, they might not always represent our participation. So let's fight back in this regard. Now I would like to share a video about our lab. It's much more of a friendly explanation compared to my speech. Of the government of Aragon to promote participation, transparency, and social innovation. Let's get started.
El lab es una
The
conversación.
lab is an open conversation between the government of Aragon and its citizens to strengthen democracy. It's a gathering point, a space to think, reflect, discuss, create and design projects jointly with citizens, social entities, companies, civil service, academia, with the perspective of democracy, the government of our peoples. Demos means the people who participate, vote, and interact in a society. And the second part of the word makes reference to public services, laws, and institutions that aim at improving the lives of people. Without participation, there is no democracy. And without the second part of the word, it's impossible too. The lab is the intersection between the two concepts under the formula of the more people, the merrier, and without forgetting or losing sight of efficiency, creating public policy that really tackles social issues. In order to meet these goals, we carry out open participatory processes, we build bridges, alliances, networks, we improve transparency and accountability with our own model called HIB, the innovation of public innovation, 6 vectors to transform our institutions and transform them into an open and dynamic network. The hexagon works really well as a way to navigate current contemporary challenges. It invites you to think differently and to move to action. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the 6 points of this hexagon. Open your organization with bidirectional discussions and new partner networks. Define or question the status quo with interdisciplinary groups offering new perspectives. Fast, act in an agile and timely manner, close gaps with a productive and conciliatory approach, develop prototypes to reinvent the future with big and small models to inspire change. Encourage cooperation to create communities, co-creation, cooperation, and collective intelligence. Digitalize your project to multiply connectivity from digital humanism. And obviously, these 6 vectors are present in the lab system of Aragón Gobierno Abierto. We promote these kinds of open participatory processes to develop acts and laws, and citizens can provide their opinions. OGP local. We help municipalities and towns to increase public participation to look for local solutions to global challenges. Visual GOB. We boost communication, accountability, and transparency through digital tools that make it much easier and more visually appealing to deal with the government. Open Kids is an initiative to encourage the youth and children participation, giving them a voice through activities and small challenges. Social Impact Academy. We encourage creativity and imagination, and we raise awareness in the youth to change the world. Aspasia. We claim the visibility of women to build a network of people fighting together and reflecting on gender equality. Age blockers is a way to eradicate discrimination online. We create alternatives for a more constructive environment. CEBOL is a tool to highlight the value of volunteers through a platform that gives connectivity and visibilizes the volunteer efforts of people who are basically fighting for the common good. Gobierno Fácil works with people who are diversely abled to make a world more accessible for everyone. Codiseño, or Rethink, mixes civil servants, designers, and citizens to improve public services with people at the heart. Even though the lab is in the Plaza del Pilar Square in Zaragoza, there we have workshops, education, pills, etc. But our ecosystem is spread around the whole region. Thanks to technology, we can be reached from all around the world. These networks allowed us to deploy the Frena la Curva platform. During the pandemic, this platform had a huge social impact. A community that was born in Aragon is now traveling all around the world. We can't stop moving forward. We will keep developing projects and initiatives. This is the lab, a constellation of ideas, concepts, and synergies at the service of democracy. Remember, we are always open and available. Just join us on our network. We are waiting for you. Good. I think that at the end you've been able to see what we meant thanks to the technicians.
I just wanted to underline the idea that we want the participation of people who want to. We cannot have their participation unless they are reached by us. We need to go and look for them, and then we have to start small and then incorporate these participatory processes. Many territories were thinking that putting a technological device or tool to the service of citizens that was enough. But this is not enough, indeed. Our participation process has always been deliberatory, and from the pandemic, we have seen a change, meaning that the digital gap was making it difficult to bridge the gap and organize participation courses through video conferences, but COVID has facilitated all this, and now we can have our first, we've been able to hold our first video conferences, and people have been wanting us to start participatory processes, even 100% online or hybrid ones, and then they try to support themselves on video conferences and by even using digital tools such as boards, digital blackboards, and it has enabled us to also reach rural environments. We were organizing participatory groups only in Zaragoza, Huesca, and Teruel, but now there is some critical mass in processes and groups so that these collective intelligence processes are triggered. And of course, if we have only 3 people, of course, it wouldn't be easy to organize something, but we need at minimum of 15, 20 people to organize such workshops. And with this, I'll finish my presentation, and I awaiting your questions, because I'd be delighted to answer them. I'll be connected till the end of the session. Thank you very much for your interest. Well, congratulations for this project and the amount of participation. It's incredible how many people are participating in your projects. Thank you. Well, I'm going to give the floor now to Maria Pia Junquera. Okay, I would like to congratulate Aragon, because in fact, Carlos, we coincide with many of your team members many times. So thank you very much for helping us in this process. What Marta and I need to tell you what has happened since the last permanent commission. Since the last plenary, not to the permanent commission, the speaker corrects herself. Since November, we have since November 2022, we have 2 new members. Viña del Mar in Chile and the Foundation for the Non-Participatory and Environmental Sustainability, Dos Pasos Foundation. We have 73 entities, 65 public administration members, and 8 collaborators. This is a very good number, and we have been, well, those of you who are abroad, maybe you've heard that there's been municipal elections with a lot of changes in terms of regions and the middle people, the interlocutors, and we are now recontacting a lot of people to see who's who is still being part of this participatory group, so that things can move on. Also, we were wondering whether there were changes, and we are, of course, trying to contact with your superiors, and if you would like us to contact your managers, of course, or your superiors, to tell them whether there's been any transformation process, would be more than happy to do it. I would like to encourage you to use all the possibilities that the participatory group offers to you or may offer to you. Also to not only to listen, but to hear all the experiences, because these experiences enrich us. We have with us the wonderful UNED team, the Distance University or Distance Education University team. They are very enthusiastic, and here in the participatory group, after 2 years, I think that, well, we can consider it like our creature, our son, and not a lot of people know it. And in many international events, we wanted to speak about it so that it would be better known. Like, for example, in Tallinn, in Estonia, we were speaking about our participatory group, also in some specific roundtables, and at the European Union level, as a result of the Spanish presidency, we were invited to the UPAN network, which is a working network, state working network of people, experts in terms of public administrations. And I think it was in November in Barcelona and also in Madrid. I think the second one was in Barcelona. Luis and I went there, taking all the material of the participatory group because we wanted to explain what we do on a local level. There's a lot of people there from Spain, a lot of people from Latin America, and we wanted to extend our scope, our reach. And we are also present in Berlin, in Portugal, but we wanted to be extending our network. We have 16 workshops, 17 roundtables, 52 radio pills and TV programs. We have more than 400 participants, plus the 8,000 visualizations, which we consider indirect participants. Marta, I'll give you the floor. Okay, thank you. With Maria Pia's introduction, now I don't have much more to add, but no, well, I was joking. I mean, coming down to the participatory level, speaking it with Maria Pia, Cristina, and Luis, I wanted to say that we have a kind of a radar, a participatory radar that in any forum or course, workshop, anywhere. Even when I was fetching my children, I hear possibilities to organize like a workshop or a radio program. And we as the unit, with the thinking part, the thinking stakeholder, reflecting upon where could we be more present, what should we organize to this purpose, and what are the priorities that we have been materializing, and how did we materialize them? Well, there is a clear physical response to participation. I mean, it has a very clear physical component in cities, and you can see and hear this in your experts workshops and in radio programs. We enjoy sharing those experiences because they are very visual. I mean, you can see the achievement of these projects of tactical urban planning that has achieved the fact that we are making pedestrian areas. We are creating many of the streets. We are making them pedestrian streets, and well, we wanted to show this physical aspect of transformation and also spaces devoted to participation. I mean, this is precisely one of the topics that we've been dealing with in our workshops and the program, a radio program on participation in schools. And another one is the Botín Center that has nothing to do, but in the end, there you have these different icons, physical icons, and then there is this common thread. Let's say if you take, for example, tactical urban planning in Uruguay, or the participatory popular districts in Bogota, trying to look for a Latin American balance. This physical version on the one hand that you can see in the website, in the workshop, and in the roundtables. And then there is another part in our working group, and we saw this in the surveys, the need to professionalize even further or institutionalize participation, to structure it from within through regulation and an education from within, conveying what participation means within the organization, so that participation will not be something external to you. All the enthusiasts are coming here now. So in this sense, we've also been working in the organization and the broadcast of radio programs that have been showing, and in those workshops too, those little progresses, advances from the Murcia City Council, where the urban agencies or stakeholders have been used as a participatory instrument or tool. There is a kind of a gap. And we see many city councils that are taking advantage of their agendas to make participation a cross-cutting issue, to channel it. And this is what we're doing. I mean, I always say, and when Maria Pia speaks about numbers, sometimes you say, well, this is precisely this. I mean, we've been programming all these activities together with the two Christinas. And little by little, you build up, and once the year has passed, and you look backwards and you say, "Oh yes, we've been doing a lot of things." You see the visualizations, the number of visualizations, and you say, "Oh yes, I've seen a lot of visits," and this is the first face-to-face experience, and we are delighted because we are in the post-COVID era, and I think this is the moment to participate in this hybrid way. I mean, with these round tables, because this was precisely one of the points or the parts that we wanted to strengthen, because we saw that there were many differences between workshops and roundtables, and we want the roundtables to be really, really tables. I mean, roundtables like such as today's, and meaning that you have the council, you have the technician, you know what works well, what doesn't work, and from there on you can see how to improve things, and so that our roundtables are places where we can meet and we can really work together, I mean collaborate. As you see, we're very enthusiastic about this, but enthusiasm is not enough. I mean, we need to sustain our enthusiasm through work, because enthusiasm will only serve as a first input or first boost, but not throughout time. Thank you very much to all the members of the participatory group. Thank you very much. The Teams thing is really cold. It's good to have you here. Can you speak about this dynamizing, this dynamization? Thank you very much. Luis, I'm referring to Luis. Yes, thank you. I think it's very good to have this dynamizing group these groups that help us in the definition of strategies, and we have a contact which is really close. And thanks to the latest meeting, we implemented some changes, and now the group is formed by the government in Jalisco, in Mexico, the Gipuzkoa Council, the City Councils of Bogota, Buenos Aires, Fuenlabrada, Madrid, Murcia, and Zaragoza. Also, with the collaboration of the UNED, I want to thank them as well. And we were thinking of we have Mikel Itziar here with us. Thank you very much. Are you connected there? Are you connected, Gipuzkoa? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Don't you hear us? We see the user, but apparently we cannot hear you. Now we hear you. Thank you. We give you the floor. Thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to apologize for not having been able to travel to Madrid, but it is true that finding a good moment to go to a meeting, even if it's a remote and online meeting, is difficult. And also to share these agendas is really complicated. Anyway, we need to learn how to improve this. We're only going to share with you a micro experience that we have developed within the context of the beginning of the legislature. And well, it is the term. This is a project called something in the Basque language, and this is a territory where we have 88 municipalities in Gipuzkoa. Half of them are populated by less of 2,500 inhabitants, and many of them are around only with a population of have a population of 120, 50, 150, 200, and this entails a lot of difficulties to be operational. And of course, if you intend to activate citizen participation, and therefore it is these smaller municipalities are very much interested in how to relate with the community, how to weave a stronger community. And in our directorate, in the Citizen Participation Directorate of the Gipuzkoa Provincial Council, we want to help them, and unfortunately it's only 20 people, and we are trying to help them to work in terms of participatory content. However, again, we're only 20 people more or less, and in many organizations we don't have these people really devoted to everything related to participation. In this forum, our main goal is to share a space or a network where different administrations that are present in this territory will be able to face some challenges, share experiences, or we offer advice to them. We have grants from the City Council so that we can foster participation, and we offer training and education. And this is where the Bidelagun, this is the name, the Basque name of our project, is embedded. Bidelagun. At the beginning of a term, we've visited one by one all the municipalities that are larger than 2,500 inhabitants, and we have held 2 joint sessions for the smaller municipalities, very small ones, where not councillor or a mayor can devote their time to this, and so that we try to help them to face challenges. And think that this is the reality in Gipuzkoa, and it is compatible with the rest of the Spanish state. Why do we choose this moment, and why are we organizing so many visits? Well, because it is the beginning of the term, it's a good moment. We are now forming the new city councils with new mayors, and we also have the new councillors and the new regional ministers, and we are giving them these small pills so that they know perfectly well what participation entails and what is directly related with all the public policies where participation is affecting them. And at least for the next 4 years, they will have this responsibility in the city councils. What are the novelties that we've seen in this process? Well, this is the second time that this is organized. In 2019, this was done as well, and we carried out all those visits at the beginning of the term. So what is the difference with this activity that we're doing now? Well, we are now sharing an assessment that the politicians were doing, saying that this training was really nice and very well planned, but they were encountering problems when it came to convey those initiatives to the institutions. They could not involve the staff or the political staff or the technical staff even that was working in the institutions, and therefore we were aiming at creating a training campaign very specifically aimed at these staff so that it would be carried out in the city councils. We've offered them a package where there are 5 specific workshops, small ones, that take 8 hours. They are 8-hour-long seminars that will start this initiative, and that will be the beginning of the starting phase in every municipality that will request such an initiative. And we assume the economic costs in the Provincial Council, and in those workshops we try to foster participation and we're trying to consolidate strong communities, powerful communities, because we've realized that one of the bigger problems that we have in Gipuzkoa is that our communities, our territorial communities, are becoming weaker and weaker, and this is precisely one of the main values that we had. We understood that having strong communities, powerful communities that would be involved and motivated would always respond better to all types of participatory processes that could be directly promoted by institutions or by the communities, those empowered communities themselves, and therefore they will be more prepared and ready to face any challenges from the citizens. And in this sense, we've offered 5 workshops, such as how to implement community action in sectoral institutional policies, how to work on the community's perspective of local entities, also the starting point of participation in institutions, how to implement participation in spaces in the city councils, and then the 5th one, which is addressing the smaller municipalities, where we are going to work on the implementation. We're working with 30 city councils asking for these training pills, so as to be ready to start preparing their structures or their internal organizations, or to start working on community actions. To do this, we are going to have the collaboration of 5 different companies or 5 advisory bodies that we have in the territory. Every one of them are going to deal with the different modules in the city councils, and this work is going to be conducted on the first 6 months of the next year. We are trying to match those, or to fit really those 30 requests that we received up to May, June next year, trying to give a response to this demand received by the city councils, and we will try to empower citizens, but also empower the administrations themselves, so that the administrations are ready to boost or to foster participatory processes, and so that we are also ready to give a response to the possible demands that we may receive, or to boost participatory processes, to promote them. It's very good. It's a very good idea to train citizens, but if we don't have an institution that coordinates all this work, this is a joint work. In fact, we will not achieve anything, and this is why we're framing all these initiatives, this work, within a global project. This is one of the actions, our priority actions for the next 4 years. And this is what we intend to do in the Bidelagun Project. Bidelagun is the vast name of this project. And this is what I wanted to share with you. Itziar, do you have anything to say? Well, no, I mean, we created this institutional space with some city councils in 2017, and this is a space that is not really populated in terms of technicians, but we consider it a consolidated space. And normally they are the ones that define their own strategies from the point of view of citizen participation and community action. Sometimes they are the ones that propose specific topics regarding community participation or community action, and how to incorporate the gender perspective in the participatory processes. This is much more than a space where we are sharing experiences. I would say it's a very important network indeed. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Chari and Mikel from Gipuzkoa. Something that you mentioned is very important, that the fact that many local institutions, despite being enthusiastic and motivated, they lack the sufficient resources to tackle all those initiatives. In some minutes, we will hear our colleagues from Arroyomolinos who have come here, and they are going to share their cases with us. But in many cases, you find that there are so many cases to tackle those participatory processes. And this is why I think these projects are really interesting. I know that you've been very, very busy for the last month and a half, but it's great. And we have also our great Buenos Aires participation team. They are now preparing a change of cooperation, and they are going to have a new term, a new government, really, in short, and they are working on a new communication model on the actions that they are carrying out, and also including the new tools and actions.
Todavía es la mañana, pero ¿Cómo andan? Muy,
How are you
primero,
doing? It's early in the morning. I'd like to thank you for your invitation. We always get this space. We are very proud of a part of this group, which is constantly growing. We are extremely happy to see the growth of this group because we started being very few. Now we've expanded the group. We're also jealous of those of you who are joining us joining the participatory group face to face from Buenos Aires. We greet you all, even though here it's quite hotter, way hotter than in Europe. This might be our last intervention in this role. We are undergoing a recent management replacement process. We want to continue with the model that was implemented in the City of Buenos Aires by the current head of government, who will leave the administration on the 10th of December. We wanted to convey to you about our model. We share many aspects of this model with many other participants of this group, and it has to do with why do we want to include citizen participation. It is rooted in the constant closeness of civil servants to the neighbors of the city. Apart from sharing many of these values and why we do this as part of each government and the aspects that allow us to implement these models, which have to do with, listening to our neighbors in an active way, opening up governments through active listening, opening up a specific and tangible participation spaces so that they in turn allow us to innovate in public policies that we want to open up, and we want to manage controversies and conflicts that happen daily in cities around the world. When you when you put forward public policies, conflicts exist, and one of the main pillars to manage these conflicts lies in public participation, not only with the citizens of the city, but also other citizens interested in themes, administrations, governments. The city of Buenos Aires is extremely diverse. Apart from sharing our why and our how with all of you, we also wanted to tell you that our participation model was and is basically rooted in a communication model. We achieve communication as long as it remains a communication model. We could tell you, apart from what we share with the rest of the members of the participatory group, which is fantastic, what is so special about our communication model? Our communication model provides us with that massification. This is a 3.5 million population in city, with 500,000 people coming from neighboring cities every day, commuting here to work, and we want, through communication models, to be able to exchange with them and tell them, narrate to all the citizens involved in public policies what we are doing. Sometimes it's about a commune or a council, an interested sector, a specific theme, experts from this field, municipality and area. Basically, it allows us to tell the whole group what we are doing and the why behind it. We also tell them that they have the option, if you want, you have the option to put forward your questions, concerns, comments, suggestions, preferences, interests. We generate a bilateral discussion with different sectors of our society who understand that our government is an open government and a government which is willing to listen, and its management model is based on constant dialogue with its citizens. Also, in addition to this massification, there's a plurality of voices, a rich diversity of voices. As Carlos was saying before in his presentation, it's about tearing down barriers, limitations. There are three key sectors in Buenos Aires. There's the north, central, and southern sections of the city. They live very different realities, so we want to provide them with many different tools to reach more people. And this implies precisely getting rid of participation barriers so that we can reach the largest audiences, because this will provide us with a wider range of views and perspectives. What about our positioning as a city? It's one of our milestones. It didn't only improve our positioning with the citizens of Buenos Aires and their perspective of us, but also the positioning with regards to the perspective or perception of foreigners who visit our city, visitors, tourists. This positioning is a milestone, as I was saying, and it's thought through strategically and sustained based on the communication model. I want to highlight a constant bond, a constant tie that is not only related to the citizens, but also the daily communication with administrations, as well as the daily communication with our neighbors. This is a key aspect of participation through our different devices. This response, the fact that some people don't open the emails that we send them, the comments in our posts on social media, every single time that we comment activities, this bond is crucial, and and communication plays a key role. We need to sustain this with time. As we were saying before, the more communication tools at the disposal of people, the better, so that we can spread the word about participation processes as we have done for 8 years. This generates a larger array of voices. We reach more people. How do we do this? Well, once we have confirmed an action and we work the device internally and we design the channel internally strictly for a specific target audience, we start working on or thinking about the tools in order to communicate or spread the word, disseminate this action. If there is a specific part of the population interested in a topic, we can contact them directly, but also we have more broader methodologies. We tell people, mark 1, press 1 if you're interested. We also send text messages, and in the different territories, there's a direct contact with the people, the neighbors of that specific place. We can also do this through emails and social media, as I was saying, including Twitter, Facebook, and other social media that we use daily. In terms of territories and teams, we carry out 2 main measures. We normally leave pamphlets under people's doors. There's a QR code. People can scan it to join the activity. And another one that is very successful and that leads to that daily contact with our neighbors is spontaneous meetings in the street, where we approach people and we tell them about public policies that we want to put forward, and we tell people about the device or channel that has been strategically designed for people to spread, to speak up, and so that we can listen to what they have to say. We try to create a survey for people to leave their contact details, so that we not only contact them and notify them and remind them of the action, but we also use this to start to become data efficient, collecting people's interests so that there's a more real, tangible, and more intuitive contact. This is a key topic for our daily operations and within our communication strategy. Last but not least, I'd like to tell you about how we later how we visualize quantitative and qualitative data, what remains as information after a specific participation action. We're working on a model which we call the iceberg model. It's about impacting communication. We had, in this case, 433 attendees. It's very important. This leads to a lot of data collection that we process cross-sectionally with other areas of our government. And this allows us to improve our public policies and meetings and gatherings. And specifically, there's a lot of information that is also very useful to us to understand the scope of people we are reaching. That's why we call it the iceberg model. So at the top, the people we reach. At the bottom of the iceberg, we represent the people who we wanted to reach through this device, but who we failed to contact with. So we've got impact and objective scope. In the middle of the iceberg, what we measure and understand is the number of people who were reached through the communication, how many people are interested, regardless of whether they participate in the end. This is a way to approach this. It's important that we share this with the group because we try to convey the milestones of the past 8 years with this communication model. To summarize other milestones, to quantify them, 79% of neighbors who were consulted in different opportunities and through different tools say that the government takes into account the opinions of its citizens seriously, and more than 85% of the consulted neighbors have a favorable opinion about the government of the city and the possibility for neighbors to participate actively in the process to define public policies. 8 years ago, the model wasn't the same. We increased our percentage throughout the years, and this has to do with the boosting this communication model, not only through the devices that we have designed and the strategies that we have proposed, but also because we want to design and define how we communicate it constantly. We don't want to take up more time because we are finishing near here. We thought it would be interesting to tell you about this model in very specific terms, how we propose this model, why we do it as it is, why the reasons behind this proposal. Thank you. Are there any questions? We are here to answer any doubts, questions. Of course, we would like to keep interacting with this group. We are at your disposal to share our lessons learned and everything that we have forward for the past 8 years so that it can be replicated in the city councils and town halls who are interested. This is very interesting. You mentioned that the communication channels lead to a close tie with citizens. People feel close to the Buenos Aires government. How interesting, because before in a previous roundtable, we're talking about precisely the opposite, how when there's no return on participation, you create the opposite effect. There's a detachment of our citizens. But I really like how you have synthesized these ties. And secondly, something that is very close to me and the team here, I'm very sorry that we are changing our Buenos Aires team. Our experience with you in the participatory group is so fantastic. We'll hopefully talk to you in the next days to see how you're managing the replacement of your team with the new government. I don't know if some of the members of your team are going to continue as members of the participatory group, but we would love to keep counting on the city of Buenos Aires as part of this group. Let's not lose or break these ties. Thank you. Thank you for the amazing effort that you've made. In life, you fulfill different roles, but what you take away is the people that you meet as part of those goals. For the rest of you joining us remotely and here face-to-face, we wanted to mention that the people from Buenos Aires are extremely friendly, polite, and they have been a catalyst for this group from the start. They've always told us everything they are doing, like the Buenos Aires Costa project. They always participate very actively, and you can find all their content in the Participatory Group website. That's all. Thank you again from the Participatory Group on behalf of the whole team. Greetings. Let's stay in touch. Please don't lose touch. Yes, it's an honor to be part of this group, this team. Of course, we will be part of the participatory group wherever we go, because we're fully committed with citizen participation, not only in the city of Buenos Aires, but the rest of the world. So our commitment is 100% firm, robust. The city of Buenos Aires is constantly at your disposal for whatever you need. It will be a part of this process that the participatory group is undergoing worldwide. This is what we will convey. It's fundamental, it's crucial that we exchange experiences with others. We have learned so much by participating and by creating these relationships, these ties, and I'm sure that the city of Buenos Aires will move forward with this path. Big round of applause. Well, we have a third member of the group who would like to intervene. They express their interest in participating. We're talking about Arroyomolinos. Would you like to come up here? Tell us what you are doing, Cristina, Francisco.
No me quito el micrófono porque luego es muy complicado, como habéis visto por Marta.
Come up to the stage.
Volver a ponérselo.
Although I won't take off my microphone. It's a bit uncomfortable to have to put it back on later. Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be here. Not only today, we've participated in many occasions. I would like to share experiences, but we would also like to tell you about the challenges that we have faced that have stopped us from moving forward as fast or as swiftly as we would have wanted. In summary, I'd like to tell you the biggest barriers we face to move forward timely. Surprisingly, everything that I had prepared and that I wanted to convey to the group has already been shared by Mikel from Gipuzkoa. His presentation resembles ours as an entity, a small entity. Of course, we don't have enough financial or human capital means to carry out big participatory processes and processes of the sort. So we wanted to propose to the group, how could we receive training from you? How could we ask you for help, support with IT programs, etc., so that we can carry out participatory processes and similar initiatives? It's very interesting. It caught my attention because we were precisely going to ask for the same things as Mikel. We wanted to convey these messages to the participatory group so that together we can make a collective effort. In a way, is there any way that we could receive training or resources so that in the next meeting we are able to tell you that we carried out a participatory process thanks to the support received by the participatory group, and these are our findings. We would love that outcome. But Mikel said everything. We just need precisely the same things as Gipuzkoa. Just to expand your comments, Paco, the problem in our city council is that there's no big tradition of public participation. we have basically adapted to another council. There's no set budget, set human resources for this. So we did achieve a small budget a few years ago to carry out a participatory workshop so that but we want to incentivize, but we don't have human resources, we don't have IT resources. So this initiative from some years ago was put to a halt. We would like to join forces and say, hey, I maybe need not a municipal budget, but to join forces with my collective so that we can find a way to achieve this. Let me give you an example. If from the participatory group there were a means to hire certain human resources or to adhere to the City Council of Madrid initiatives, I mean, we need a certain tailoring to our municipality. I just wanted to share our concern. Could we please together find a mechanism to keep moving forward?
Creo que también lo que proponemos es trasladable.
This proposal could be replicated in other municipalities facing the same problem as we do. I'm talking about all the little towns and municipalities that have the same problems. The speaker is not using the microphone. Thank you. Of course, we will take notes of your concerns on behalf of the Participatory Group, the City Council of Madrid, and the region of Madrid, as well as the network of local entities for participation and transparency. We would like to help you out because we're talking about something that affects not only you, but many isolated little municipalities. You might have to help us too, because I think that we can talk together, reach agreements. Murcia is a bit further away, but I see them nodding with their heads. Of course, we can help you out. We've been looking for many ways to implement these processes. Hopefully, we'll be able to meet this goal. Topic of grants, EU generation. The grants attached to the EU generation. There's a problem attached to them. You need to pay first and then collect the money. The City Council of Madrid has employment plans that differ from what we can do. The Community of Madrid can give you the money first. If you don't meet requirements, you later have to give back the money, but you get initially that deposit to hire resources. That's more or less what we would need to move forward swiftly. That's what we want. That's what we seek. Thank you very much. Francisco, those at the other part of in the other part of the world can't hear me. We think that everybody has enough resources if you organize them well, if we cooperate. Maybe if you need basic resources and we can give you a hand, this would be fantastic to implement very straightforward participatory processes. We want the citizens to understand that we are really doing things, and we want to raise awareness within the City Council about how important participatory processes are. Of course, we will get in touch with you and hopefully we will come up with a solution together. I think we will. Thank you very much.
Vamos avanzando ya en la reunión y realmente nos quedan un par de cosas de las que hablar.
We have a couple of things to talk about still. The speaker is not using the microphone. One of the things that we wanted to tell you about, because we aren't running out of time, we've got plenty of time, we would like to hear your concerns, both those of you joining us remotely and face-to-face. As you know, before the meeting, we sent you many messages to tell you, please help us out by filling out a form about your concerns and challenges and what topics you found most interesting for the upcoming months. Because, these are different people to the people here today, but jointly you have common ubiquitous challenges. First of all, raising awareness about the usefulness of public participation and also the importance of internal awareness within public administrations. This has been highlighted by the last speaker as well. We've also heard about raising awareness amongst young people. This morning we also we need to develop new participation tools and new channels like social media, podcasts, etc. You also voiced your concerns about the digital gap, creating a model that is a hybrid between face-to-face and remote participation. Something else that we heard this morning, we need to encourage the participation of neighborhood councils and participations, managing the generational replacement. There's an aging population and people who are experts in topics are leaving participatory processes. How do we manage this generational shift? Again, we also heard about urban agendas and how to implement participatory processes that have a huge visibility in our territory. Something else that you expressed this morning and that was touched upon by two speakers, the updating of participation standards in Spain. This is a list of the concerns that you have voiced. There are many topics that repeat themselves, and we see a variety of scales of institutions expressing the same concerns, whether you are big city councils or small city councils. And there are also three very interesting topics, the top one being innovation and participation, and even new concepts like citizen assemblies. The second topic is combining digital and face-to-face participation in a city council. We need to provide different channels, the digital ones and the face-to-face ones. And the third topic is, how do you make participation easier for underrepresented collectives or those collectives participating less because of their age group, their social group, and how do we make participatory processes more inclusive? I'd also like to thank you for those giving us input, because this allows us to better design our workshops. Remember that you've got a tpg.@gmail.com email account that you can use to contact us, to share the topics that you would like us to develop content about. We would love to talk to you and all the institutions of the participatory group one-to-one. Let's spend half an hour listening to what you are doing and how we can help you. This is all. We need to think about the return on participation. Thank you to those providing us your input, because this is extremely useful to us. We count on you. That's all. Antonio, you have the floor now. One of the main pillars of the participatory group is coordination. Antonio, From the input this morning and throughout this session, what interests have you identified that are common or joint to all of you? And would anybody joining us online ask any question? Of course, people here too. We aren't running out of time. We're doing really well with timekeeping. You have the floor, Antonio. If you want to intervene.
Dando las gracias, ¿no?
Well, the first thing is to thank you because, well, we need to acknowledge things and to thank for them, and we share the same fate, let's say, and therefore I think it is very important to establish dynamics with those groups with whom we share. I belong to social groups where participation is difficult because our life is difficult, and it's important to have managing strategies for a chair of social services. It is difficult to deal with all this, but we need to also focus on the groups that have difficult access, such as, for example, social services, or people at the risk of social exclusion, such as old people, elderly people. Well, we need to think that we have a digital society. We don't find many young people in the normal associations. We find them online, and maybe we need to create gamed participation strategies for those youngsters, for those teenagers. Of course, it would be more expensive, but we need more computer tools, because many of them are in different spaces, and through participation we carry out our democratic life here and also online. I mean, we have many participatory spaces. We need to build them according to our democratic values, and in this sense the quality of our democracy comes hand in hand with the quality of our democracy. And Susana and Marta are very creative, and this is why this morning we were interviewing a lot of people, because we need to build that digital democracy that is real, that, well, our City Council in the Madrid City Council will be present here, but also in the metaverse. Well, I don't know if this is the metaverse, whatever. I mean, what is true is that we need to generate such spaces, and therefore there will be the social services that will come, and we must never forget, come and fetch us. We must never forget these democratic participation tools and the democratic tension, let's say, these participatory dynamics, and therefore we need to make our co-civil servants, our public administrations, we need to make them co-experts, participants in these democratic tools and spaces, and we need to help them design their own workspaces so that the space will change. So as dynamics will improve, maybe the participatory processes can also move inwards, and not only the processes by the public administrations. And thank you very much for your energy. And thank you for having the unit with us. Antonio, changing topic. We know that we have connected online the Manzanares El Real City Council, and they were saying, oh, we encounter the same problems. In our case, it is the same. in the participatory group, we find other institutions that have the same problems. And in terms of participation, what Antonio was saying, it is important to see how we must create awareness, raise awareness. So the internal participation within the administration, how to involve the rest of the organizational units, and so that they know that through participatory processes they can improve all the public processes. I think this is something we all believe in, but in the end we need to convince or involve those units within our administration so that in those participatory processes services can be improved. Also, innovation. What do you think about innovation? We have another microphone, handheld microphone in the room in case you want to speak. Anybody from Fuenlabrada would like to take the floor? And Madrid, of course, the region, Murcia, the region as well. Would you like to stand up and come to the fore? Or to the stage? Okay, thank you. Otherwise, this is not participatory. Well, we were speaking this morning, participating and seeing how we can renovate the citizen participation challenges. My name is Javier. I am the Council of External Participation in the City Council of Fuenlabrada, and I have been working since June. And one of the main things we are doing is to renew those regulations, and so that we want to we want to have some regulations that are aligned with the participatory culture that we already have in Fuenlabrada and align it with the one we want to have. It's the same as co-governance or digital participation, renovation, the association fabric that we have, which is a powerful fabric that we have, and we need to improve structures, services, and this is precisely what has held our city council very united or very much together. However, over time, there is a risk of apathy, and we need to see that the city is evolving and changing in terms of its composition, in terms of geography, where people come from, racial diversity, according to migrants' trends. There are projects where we work in citizen participation, and these are European projects that have to do with social inclusion. And these European projects have a conclusion, and once the deadline is there, I mean, once these projects finish, we would like to continue working with those projects. We have the TAMUS project and the Master Lab project for young people, for especially aimed at including migrant youngsters, and through the participation lab methodology, or with that methodology, we would like the working structure to capture those two initiatives. meaning that we want to give continuity to these two initiatives. We want to renew the regulations. There's so many topics we're working on, and this is the best forum to learn, and we're delighted to be here. One of these European projects was talking about the participation in terms of one of the European projects was dealing with the fact of those citizens that should participate and also have a say in terms of the police and the unemployment, or the biases and the treatment given to our citizens, how to interact, to improve the interaction. So hello, I'm Mercedes Bernabe. I'm the Council of Economic Improvement and Employment in the City Council of Murcia. And although I've been dealing with this since June this year, from June 2019, we started working with the Open Government. And you know that in March 2021, there was a motion in this sense, motion of censure. And according to my experience, in February 2021, when we entered the Participatory Group, it was motivated by the accumulated experiences that we had in this network or in this group. And all comes from the past. I mean, we all work in Murcia, but we had designed the Murcia 2020 strategy. We were working on this and talking and working towards the Urban Agenda 2030. And this is where we are integrating all our projects that have been participated. And we do participate thanks to the Social Council. It looks like as if not all the municipalities have this Social Council, but to us this is the maximum representation, citizen representation and participation body. And so that all the civil society is represented in this council, starting by the former mayors, but also trade unions, entrepreneurs, universities, the academia, the young people, the elderly people, culture, sport, tradition, professional associations, etc. And together with them, we have been working on the urban agenda. Here we have Maika with us, who is a technician who has been key in this process. And therefore, we designed the whole city, let's say, or the whole city strategy, hand in hand with citizen participation in this social council, but working with the contributions also by the technical assistance of the Murcia University, which has a working group that is helping us to promote citizen participation together with all these stakeholders. At the same time, one of these large projects that we conducted already in 2020 during the pandemic with the stakeholder called Conexión Sur in Spanish, so Southern Connection. This was the name of a project, not the stakeholder. And we were working for 6 months face-to-face and online as a result of the pandemic, so that we could design a project to recover spaces after the train buried or tunneled part of its stretch and under the railways, so that we recover those spaces for the citizens. And there is an urban planning or replanning process. and we asked the citizens, what do you want us to do with those spaces or recovered spaces? And at the same time, we wanted to regenerate those spaces because they were belonging to the southern part of the city and they were degraded, you know, there were some slums there, etc. So we were working with them for 6 months, listening to them, and when we configure this project, we work together with the citizens and the technicians. Now we're still working on it because then we have, you know, high-speed trains. ADIF is the name of the company, and this is a project that has been co-funded by European funds in terms of recovering those areas. And this is what we're now tendering. We're tendering the phase of phase zero, and this project has been built together with citizens, and I think we need to feel very proud of it because in the end citizens will see their demands made a reality. We needed sports centers, cultural centers, green spaces, bike lanes, and all this is made a reality in the Southern Connection or Conexión Sur project. I think we need to actively listen to citizens, and it is true that if there is no political will, and I'm including here the City Council, but also the regional governments, this is necessary, very much necessary, this political will to conduct those projects. And we're also working a lot in European projects with the municipal technicians, the civil society in those processes. In Spain, you have to think that we have 8,131 municipalities, and in Murcia, we have 460,000 inhabitants. But you should not think that there is not a large department or a large budget for this participation under the open government framework. When there is political will, when there is really motivation, resources, of course, are needed, but they are not a priority, let's say. We have been working with the Murcia University, and we need participation. This is absolutely essential. Just by way of conclusion, we need an effective and real participation. And what you were saying about vulnerable groups, elderly, etc., I think this is clear. We see some municipalities that want to tackle the topic of participation, and we see others that are hesitant about this. There are other institutions that you may think of, and we would like to include everybody for this in these participatory processes, because some of the groups are really vulnerable. They have a lot of problems, and it's difficult to attract them towards these participatory processes, and this would be absolutely ideal. So when you spoke about it, it drew my attention due to these reasons, because some municipalities want to start, and I think this is a fascinating challenge. And therefore, we need to think about this, because in Murcia, we have many vulnerable groups or social groups, and this is what we are very much focused on. I want them to know that we have an employment service, so that they would get trained, they would get guidelines and guidance, to find jobs. And the problem is that many of those vulnerable groups do not know about this service and these facilities that we offer. Okay, so this is the good thing about the participatory group, because we support each other. You want to take the floor? Okay, sit here, come to the floor, come to the stage. Okay. So thank you very much to everybody. Participatory group is a very interesting group. Whenever we participate in these commissions, we learn a lot. We all administrations at every level. I represent a community, a region. I would like to encourage small city councils such as Arroyomolinos so that you won't quit, you won't abandon this project. We are going to support you even further. We are going to support the smaller municipalities because these are the ones that are really encountering more difficulties, and we are going to progress thanks to the City Council organizing these events, because this is a network, as Carlos Oliván was saying. We need to create networks, and this is what we're doing. So we're absolutely convinced of this need, so thank you very much indeed. Thank you. We will give the floor to Zaragoza. Okay, Luis Vidal is also connected online. He is one of the members of the dynamizing group. Luis, would you like to say something, because you are you're going to be the last speaker? Okay, thank you. Do you hear me? Yes, of course. Well, rather than speaking about what we do here in Zaragoza, is I was saying that more than speaking about what we do here in Zaragoza is to give value to what we're doing as a very valuable tool to exchange everything that we're doing in our institutions, because the realities are really bright, but I think that it is very enriching to be able to get to know other experiences, and this helps us in this institutional initiative, because the coordination among different institutions on an international level, which is not an easy task, we need to add value to the involvement of universities, such as, well, as an element, a very important element to support our institutions, because they are very systematic and they have a very good methodology, so that it can help us a lot, and they can, at the university, they can support us a lot in what we do in our spaces. So I just wanted to give you a word of encouragement to all of you in your daily tasks. Thank you very much. I don't know whether we have any more online interventions. We are going to finish this gathering. We at the Participatory Group, we are very respectful of the time, the people that are participating. So Maria Pia, if you want to conclude on behalf of the Madrid City Council. Well, you know that the characteristics of these groups are collaboration, teamwork, sense of humor, and acknowledgement. We are very thankful as well. These are really good characteristics, and I would like to thank all of you and the Madrid City Council and the UNED. We are very happy to be here, to be able to have had the possibility to meet. Okay, I am going to close this session. My general director has commissioned me to finish this event, to give the concluding remarks. Thank you very much to all of you connected from the whole world, and thank you for having come here to accompany us from your places, and to thank you for your contribution, your participation, and interested participation. You know that we don't pay anybody here, so thank you for your time. And of course, if you would like to give us, to share your inputs through the email, or your ideas, proposals, suggestions, etc., we're more than invited to do so. And we are going to try to establish those non-formal or informal meetings, and we invite you for the next year meeting. And thank you everyone for your collaboration and your daily work. Thank you very much wherever you are connected from. Thank you.